Hi everybody. So this morning I spent some time on the discussion board for major paper number 1, specifically looking at the questions that you all wrote after going through the paper instructions. So I'm going to answer those the best I can. To organize these questions, I grouped the majority questions that came up more than once towards the end of the PowerPoint, and more individual questions towards the beginning. If I missed your question, please do get in touch with me and we can go over that and make sure that you have an answer. So here we go. All right. We're going to start with this question for inserting your picture or Word document into the text box that you have after you've written your essay within the 60-minute time period. How do you do that? Where is that located? What do you do? I went ahead and took some screenshots of this from Student View. So what you do looks like this. You can see here that the text bar is circled, so underneath the question but between or before the text box you'll see all of your options as far as the rich text bar goes. Okay, here's what it looks like specifically. So in this view I've gone ahead and typed a couple of sentences to answer the question. There's a little icon here where you can upload images. There's also an icon where you can upload documents. Choose whichever version of your file you have. If you took a picture of your notes, you'd want to upload image. If you have a Word document, of course, you'd want to upload the document. All right, and then after that, should look similar to this. I chose a picture to place right after my text. I also uploaded a document. It shows up as just a hyperlink. Right, so that's how you go about adding that to your essay after you've completed writing it. All right, I'll load up a couple more questions here. Okay, first, what is one thing we should definitely do to prepare ourselves for this paper? Other than taking notes, how can you prepare? Should things be double spaced? For formatting, just make sure that you differentiate between paragraphs. Don't worry too much about indentation and spacing and all of that kind of good stuff. On format, we'll focus on major paper number 2 and 3, specifically formatting those academically. With the text box, we're a little bit limited on how we can format, so just do your best. Okay, do make sure to prepare for this paper that you go over Boylan's essay more than once. Do annotation notes in the margin so that you understand key concepts and how it can relate to rhetoric and rhetorical analysis. Okay, or if you don't have her essay printed out, just handwrite some notes for yourself that you can then upload and use while you're taking or creating your essay. Okay, I do suggest that you have Boylan's essay in front of you in some way, shape, or form, either in a different tab that you have pulled up or printed off so that you can refer back to it as you go. Is there any starting and stopping the 60 minutes? Perhaps to check notes or reread over Boylan's essay? No, unfortunately, we do have to work under the limits that Canvas sets forth for us. So 60 minutes, once it starts, you're good to go, and then it will run out promptly after 60 minutes have passed. Okay, yes, absolutely, you can have Boylan's essay with you. All right, next question, does the order of the 2 body paragraphs, do those have to be listed specifically as stated in the instructions? I'm giving you a little bit of creative freedom here. A lot of this paper is very formulaic in how it's laid out. You have to have a specific number of paragraphs, you have to use introductory and concluding method, but you can rearrange the order of those 2 body paragraphs, whatever fits with your writing style. All right, should I use or cite evidence and examples to explain rhetorical concepts? Not necessarily. So for that particular aspect of the paper, I'm going to be looking more at, do you show an understanding of the concept? With that in mind, I would like you to, as much as possible, work any definitions into your sentence. So saying something along the lines of, the author uses pathos or emotion to persuade, and then go into an example, instead of stopping everything and saying, pathos can be defined as, ... Alright, so I'll look for you to integrate those definitions as you go. The only support really that I should see would be textual support from Boylan's essay. So saying pathos is here, you can see that Boylan uses it by this, this, and this. Okay, so that's more what I'm looking for as far as an outside source being used. You'd pull more from Boylan's essay. Right, how far am I going to go on grading your MLA citation? Well, I will look for an introductory source sentence where you state Boylan's full name, the full title of the essay, and give a general overview of the content. I will be looking for whenever you summarize or directly quote that you've also stated Boylan's name and given a page number. A PDF does come along with page numbers. So I'll be looking for that. I won't be looking for a works cited page. If you provide a works cited entry, I'll do my best when I'm going through and grading to give you individualized feedback on how well you do. So with that in mind, if you need everything's an argument and you want to look through that textbook at MLA and text citation or works cited as you go, yes, you can do that, definitely. Okay, is there a specific prompt for this more so than what you've already been given? No. It's exactly as stated in the directions that you've already read through. Go through Boylan's essay, provide me 4 paragraphs total, 2 of which need to look at rhetorical method and rhetorical situation. You get to choose. There's a little bit of freedom there on what aspects of method and situation you want to look at, what you see more at play within the essay, what's effective or ineffective rhetorically. Will all of our major papers be timed like this? No. This is a one and done deal. After this, you will have time to go through draft, revise, peer review, draft, revise, peer review, etc. until you hand in your major papers. Alright, and also, should our rough draft be uploaded before we start or submitted just before 11:59 p.m.? This is all within the timed section. So the notes aren't a separate upload from you taking the test. You upload them. I say test because it's set up as a quiz. You upload your notes after you've written your essay within that 60-minute time period. If you're still confused on that, do let me know and I'll try and talk you through it a little bit better. Alright, is there a grading rubric? Yes, there is. That's a wonderful question. Okay, so I've pulled up the grading rubric and I took a couple of screenshots, so feel free to look over this and I'll try and provide this separately on Canvas within the major paper number 1 directions page that you can find in the week 1 module. So you can take a look. This is how I'm going to be grading you and how the categories are weighted. It's tricky with Canvas quizzes. They don't like to have rubrics attached. So it's a whole process of loading the rubric after you have gone through and written your essay. So it's an extra step that I have to take. So I do want to make sure you see that first. Okay, so do make sure to take some time and take a look at that. All right, let's go through a couple more questions here. I promise not too much longer and we'll get to the good stuff. Okay, so do we need to upload notes within the 60-minute time period? Yes. I think I might have already mentioned that, so if I've doubled up on that, I apologize. If you run out of time, are you going to just grade it even if it's complete? Yes. Do your best to finish your essay writing within the time period. I know it's doable. This is actually an assignment that I gave in person several years. So it's been done before and students were handwriting, so and you know that takes a lot longer than typing things out. So and they had just 50 minutes to do this exact same task. So it's something that's definitely doable within the time period you've been given, especially if you go through and outline and have your notes with you so that you can look back on those as you go. Alright, I think that should be there. Are there special or is there special terminology or ideas expressed in the essay that require outside reading? Nothing more than you've already been assigned. So Boylan's essay, the rhetorical analysis and rhetoric, readings from Everything's an Argument, and lecture notes, and that should get you through. Traditional essay organization lecture notes will also be helpful so that you understand how to order your paragraphs. Alright, here's one of the big sets of questions. So I'm not going to read through all of these questions, but this set of questions primarily deals with the note-taking aspect and how far can you go with that? Where does this verge into pre-writing or not writing within that 60-minute time frame? So I am going to ask that you treat this as if it were an in-person session where you only have 60 minutes in your classroom to write out your essay. Treat it in that kind of respect. So with that in mind, your notes should not be a complete draft. Probably not even complete sentences, but definitely an outline of the key ideas that you want to hit. If you want to write your notes on Boylan's essay itself, so you'd have a printed copy of that you would circle passages and underline and write yourself notes. That works just as well for notes taken. Okay, but again, these notes shouldn't be more than 1 to 2 pages, very brief in nature, and it should not be a full draft of your paper. I do want you to go through the process of writing your notes out into sentence form and creating this essay within the time period given. Okay, and I've got here some highlights. And specifically on grading your notes, I'm not going to be going through with a fine-tooth comb and grading those specifically, but I do use those when I look at your essay and alongside your essay to see the construction of your ideas and the progression of your ideas and development of your writing. Alright, I think this is one of our last questions here. Paragraph length and paper length. Now, I'm not judging on word count. I am not going to be looking at and counting sentences and paragraphs, but I do ask that you use a minimum of 4 sentences per paragraph. Your paragraphs can be longer. That's a stylistic issue and kind of how you deal with paragraph writing. But in order to really communicate and convey all of these complex ideas, your paragraphs really shouldn't be less than 4 sentences in length. So do meet that minimum requirement. Now, word count, I'm not going to be tracking word count as far as length goes. I'm also not going to be looking at page length because with individual writing styles, your paragraph length can vary. This very well might run you closer to 3 pages, where somebody else might only take 2 pages. And it's just a difference in style and word choice and organization. So do make sure that you hit that 4-paragraph maximum minimum requirement. You absolutely must have 4 paragraphs, and that you have at least 4 sentences per paragraph as you go. It's good to have textual support, so feel free to pull from Boylan's essay and show examples of where you see pathos, ethos, or logos, or message, context, audience, purpose, author. So do feel free to pull in information as you can. But again, that's what I'm looking for as far as length. Okay? Alright, and again, I've got a little set of highlights here of what I've just said. Okay? Alright, that's it. Contact me directly if I missed a question or if you have any other questions that have popped up since.